Record to the cloud. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Phoenixville Public Library's Zoom channel. And we're pleased to have with us once again George Dillman from the Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities. And the first of actually a three-part series. This one talking about identity theft and ways that you can prevent your identity from being stolen, and if it's been stolen, what you can do about it. Important topic, one that keeps evolving constantly. If all the people who were perpetrating these crimes pooled their energies for something good, the world would be a much better place. I would, would you agree? Those of you who have questions, please hold them until the end of the presentation, and then you can either type them in the chat or unmute yourself at that time. We'll stop the recording before we take questions. And with that, we'll turn things over to George. George, thanks so much.
Great. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, the topic, avoiding identity theft. And we're going to start off with a quote from a gentleman by the name of Frank Abagnale. Most people don't know who Frank Abagnale is until you mentioned the movie that was made about his life called Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio. And actually a real life story based on Frank Abagnale. He as a young man, he started out creating fake checks, and he did a very good job at it. And this is how he was kind of making a living. He pretended to be an airline pilot, a doctor, and a lawyer, and he created these really good fake checks, cashed them. Of course, FBI was after him. They finally caught up to him, put him in jail, and at some point they realized that Frank Abagnale was so good at creating these fake checks, he ought to be very good at spotting fake checks. So he went to work for the FBI, and I think he's still working for the FBI, but he's kind of expanding, and he does. He talks about not just he's not an expert just on fake checks, but on frauds and scams, identity theft. He does workshops. And so this is a quote from Frank Abagnale. He says the police can't protect consumers. Consumers, people need to be more aware and educated about identity theft. We live in a time when if you make it easy for someone to steal from you, they will. Someone will. So, and that's what we're talking about today. So, what is identity theft? Identity theft happens when someone uses your personal information like your name, social security number, credit card number, even your phone number, without your permission to commit a fraud or other crime. And here's some statistics on identity theft, the type of identity theft that occurs. And we're just going to key in on the first one there, credit cards. Right at the top, because the second one is kind of like a other identity theft, a hodgepodge of other things, and then below that we see loans and leases, bank accounts, but right at the top, credit cards is the biggie. People stealing your identity to use that, as well as other things as well. This is what we're going to be talking about today. What is identity theft? How it happens, protecting yourself, and what to do if it happens to you, if you become a victim. So, who steals identities? We would expect people, strangers, people we don't know, strangers, caregivers in some cases, to steal from us, and people, if they're any type of theft, with scammers, identity thieves. We're looking at three types of things they're looking to steal: money, other valuables, or personal sensitive information. Of course, we're basically talking about personal sensitive information. And these are the people we would expect to do that. Unfortunately, most of the time, statistics show, and I've heard percentages anywhere from 60 to like 72, 73%. Either or and other percentages in between, but bottom line, most of the time it's the people that we know, the people closest to us, family members, coworkers, friends, people who have access to our personal sensitive information. We need to keep this in mind, and we need to take those things, Money, other valuables, and personal sensitive information, we need to keep those things in a safe, secure place. Excuse me. We need to keep those things in a safe, secure place. Us, maybe one or two other trusted people know where this information is at, and no one else, because of this. Because of this. Excuse me. So, opportunities. We're going to look at the second one on the list first, dumpster diving. Identity thieves that will rifle through dumpsters and garbage cans looking for any personal sensitive information they can steal and use to steal our identity. Highly recommended. Oh, excuse me. My apologies. All of a sudden, I get the coughs now. Um, Highly recommended that we just don't just crumble things up and throw them away. And even if something just has our name and address on it, junk mail that we get, even if it just has our name and address on it, experts say that we should be shredding it. But anything with personal sensitive information, we want to shred before we throw it away. Recommended we use at least a crosscut shredder, makes it look like confetti. They also have micro shredders, almost makes it look like dust. And if anybody lives in an area where they can still have a burn barrel, and they still do, that might be the best way to get rid of it. How do you put ash and smoke back together to steal somebody's information? So yeah, this is what we want to do before we throw those things away because of that. Now we're going to go back up to the top to mail theft, and I do the second one first because I call mail theft the mailbox version of dumpster diving. People that will rifle through mailboxes looking again for any personal sensitive information that they can steal and use. How about those pre-approved credit card applications a lot of us get in the mail? Highly recommended if we can to utilize a locked mailbox. Obviously makes it a lot harder for somebody to steal our mail out of a locked mailbox. And for those who have the I hate to say old fashioned, but the mailbox with the red flag that you put up, if people are still using those, you put that, you have mail to go out. And so you want the postal worker to know that you have mail to go out. You put your red flag up. That sometimes if somebody's looking to steal, that could be a big green flag for them, so to speak. There's a mailbox with things going out. I wonder if somebody's still writing the old-fashioned checks I could steal and whitewash. If you're familiar with whitewashing, where you wash out the name and the amount, you can put in your own name and amount to on a check. By the way, if you're still like me, if you're still doing old-fashioned checks, it's recommended we use those gel pens, those security gel pens. Much more difficult to whitewash those, but yeah, the mailbox with the red flags. So highly recommend if we utilizing a locked mailbox because of that. Theft of a wallet or purse. First of all, we have people coming into our home. And if somebody is interested in stealing something from us, like personal sensitive information, do we want to leave our wallets and purses just laying out someplace, or should we keep those in a safe, secure place? Also, a lot of times when we go out during the day, as the old saying goes, we take everything with us but the kitchen sink and our wallets and purses when we leave the house. I take all 8 of my credit cards, my Social Security card, Medicare card as it may apply, bank account information, passwords, PIN numbers, so on and so forth. Experts say if we don't need it, leave it at home. If I maybe even have 2 wallets and 2 purses, the one that I keep everything in and the one that I take with me when I go out, that I can just put in what I need that day when I go out. If I don't need all 8 of my credit cards, I only need to take 2 with me. I take the 2 that I need. I leave the rest at home in a safe, secure place. I don't need my Social Security card, leave it at home in a safe, secure place, and so on and so forth. That way, if we lose or have stolen our wallets or purses, that much less we have to worry about replacing, that much less we have to worry about somebody using against us. So we leave those things at home that we don't we don't need. It's also recommended we make front and back copies of our credit and debit cards. Why do we do that? Well, we go out and we take those two credit cards with us, and we either lose them or they get stolen. Uh, and maybe we don't remember, maybe we're not sure which two credit cards we even took with us, and we certainly, I don't think we do, but we certainly don't have those toll-free numbers on the back of the cards memorized. So if I have front and back copies, I can come home, I can find the two credit cards that I took with me, I can reach out to those companies, cancel the cards, have new cards issued, and eliminate any charges that may have been put on there since losing or having the cards stolen. Finally, at the bottom is skimming. What is skimming? Skimming is the illegal copying of information from the magnetic strip of a credit or debit card, popular with ATM machines and gas pumps. As we put our card into the card reader to take money out of the ATM machine, or we put our card in to the card reader at the gas pump to pay for gas, as the company is getting our information, the scammer puts, by the way, and I might have missed this, the scammer puts a fake card reading device over top of the actual card reader. So as we're putting our card in to take money out or to pay for gas, as the company is getting our information, guess who else is getting our information, right? Yeah, the person who put that fake card reading device over top of the actual card reader. What can we do to guard against this? One thing that we can do is if you have the credit card or the credit cards, even the debit cards with the tap, using the tap rather than inserting the card, that and that's why the tap was created, to bypass inserting those cards as a security thing. But also, if we can, it's recommended we stick to machines. We try to use the same machines on a regular basis. I try to go to the same ATM machine to take withdrawals. If I can, I try to go to the same gas station or same type of gas station, the same pumps. That way, if there's something different with the card reader, better chance is going to stick out if we use those machines on a regular basis. One day I show up at the ATM machine or the gas pump, and the card reader is bigger and it doesn't look quite aligned, and there's wires that I didn't see, something that makes it stick out. It'll be more noticeable to us because if we use those machines on a regular basis, it's going to stick out more. Something else that's recommended is something called the wiggle method or the jiggle method. When scammers put these fake card reading devices over top the actual card reader, they're not really sticking them very well. And if you jiggle or wiggle them, and they do jiggle or wiggle, especially if it comes off, then it's fake. Then it's a fake card reader. Of course, we don't want to use it. We want to report it inside. It's also recommended we use machines that are in well-lit, well-trafficked areas. Maybe I want to use the ATM machine that's inside the bank during banking hours when there's employees there and there's people going back and forth. Maybe I want to stay away from the ATM machine that's outside of the bank where somebody could fiddle with it at 2:00 in the morning, before I show up to use it. Stay away from that and use the one that's inside. Or I want to use the ATM machine that's inside the convenience store, across from where employees are working and there's more people going back and forth. I want to stay away from the machine that's in the back corner of the store, or I want to stay away from the freestanding. We've all seen those, right? The freestanding ATM machine out the side of the building. And in this scenario, the lights out and the cameras broke. I want to stay away from that machine. Stick to machines that are in those well-lit, well-trafficked areas. The gas pumps that are right outside from where the employees are working and there's more human traffic going back and forth. Staying away from the gas pumps that might be around the side of the building. All right, cybersecurity, more on cybersecurity or cybersecurity with identity theft. We're going to talk about smishing, phishing, vishing, and quishing. And we're going to start with vishing. So I get a phone call. In fact, real life situation. I had two people approach me, and one was talking about how they were contacted by their bank. The other was contacted by their bank with the finger quotes, and the other one was contacted by their doctor with the finger quotes. I'm going to use the doctor. Gentleman came to one of my presentations. He said, George, I get a phone call, and I looked at caller ID, and it said it was my doctor's office, Dr. Schmedling, or whatever the doctor's name was. It was my doctor's office. So I pick up the phone. And by the way, with spoofing, where scammers can and do can hijack legitimate numbers and use those legitimate numbers. So if I look, I'm looking at caller ID, I say, it verifies it's from the doc or whoever is calling, whatever that trusted source is. So in this case, he looks at his caller ID and it says Dr. Schmedling's office. So he picks up the phone, and gentleman introduces himself. He says he's with the doctor's office. He's calling to inform all their patients that the doctor's office is closing, and they're going to be transferring all their information over to this other doctor's office in the area. And he mentioned the doctor's name. It was a real doctor in the area. So the gentleman told me the story. He said, "Oh, okay." So he says, "I just need to confirm some information with you. I just need to, if you can confirm your name and your address and your social security." And he said, "George, something just didn't sound right. And asking me to confirm all this information." He said, I told the guy, I said, "You know what, can I call you back?" And before he gave him a chance to answer, he just hung up the phone, which is probably what we should do. And then the other thing that we should do is what he did. He called his doctor's office back with a verified phone number to find out that the doctor's office wasn't closing. It was some scammer, some identity thief calling to try to get information out of him, as well as I'm assuming other patients with that doctor's office. So by phishing is voice by phone, calling, pretending to be from a trusted source like a government agency, Social Security, or your bank, your doctor's office. So we have to be careful with that. Phishing is with email. I get an email from my local bank. And I get emails from my local bank all the time, from the customer service department, from the promotions department. And I get an email from the customer service department. "Hello, Mr. Dillman. This is your customer service department at your bank. Mr. Dillman, the bank is updating its records. We're asking all of our customers to hit the link below. That link will connect you to our website. Once you get to our website, you need to go to this section. We're updating our records, and we need everyone to confirm all their information for us, so we make sure our records are up to date. So once you get to that section, we need you to fill in all the information that we need you to confirm." So I want to help my bank out. I hit the link. I go to the website. I know exactly where I need to go because I go to their website all the time. I fill in all the information that they need, only to find out at a later point that email didn't come from my doctor's office, and I wasn't redirected to their website. But somebody might say, "But George, I get emails from my bank all the time. I go to their website all the time. Everything was there. Everything was in place. The name, the logo, the email address that it came from, the website that I went to." In this day and age, it's very easy to copy and paste and Photoshop things. And now with artificial intelligence, make it look even more realistic, more legitimate. So you really think that email did come from that trusted source, and you did get redirected to their website as opposed to a fake copycat website. So yeah, we have to be careful with the phishing attempts as well. Oh, by the way, also, if that email did come from a bad source and you hit that link, by hitting that link, you might be releasing and downloading some malicious software to your computing device. Maybe some software that allows that scammer to go into your device anytime they want to steal information. So again, we have to be careful. Smishing is the same thing with text messages. What's been popular over the last 3, 5, 6 years or more maybe is you get those text messages from Amazon with the finger quotes, or FedEx or UPS with the finger quotes. I think most of you know what I'm talking about. Something happened with your last order, something happened with your package, or your information was lost. We need you to hit the link below. go to the, and which will take you to another page. We need you to fill in all your information again. Yeah, and we know where that's going with the after talking about the fake emails, we know where that's going with the fake text messages as well. Quishing is the same thing with QR codes. I create, maybe rather than a copycat website, maybe I create a brand new website, and and I see a pop-up ad with a QR code, then I need to scan the QR code to access that website. And again, the same thing. I get taken to a not so good website set up by some scammer through this fake QR code. We're going to talk a little bit more about QR codes on a later slide as well. Other way, hacking and data breaches. Every so often, we hear about data breaches, companies getting getting hacked, they're getting into their systems, stealing information. One thing that we can do to guard against that is by limiting the amount of information we give even to trusted sources. And here's the example that I use. A couple years ago, I started with a new doctor's office. And just like any other I went in, I had to fill out a pile of paperwork. And in that paperwork, in 3 or 4 places, they wanted me to write in my social security number and date of birth. 2 key pieces of information somebody can use to steal our identity and from us, and then use that to steal from us. So every time I got to those sections, I didn't write in my social security number or date of birth. So they knew I didn't forget. I drew lines through those sections. Now, in my case, I handed the paperwork back in. The person who took the paperwork, she thumbed through it. Okay, Mr. Dillman, she said, and she closed it up and set it aside. But if she would have said something like, gee, why didn't you fill in your social security number and date of birth? I might have said something like, or asked something like, do you really need that information? I prefer not to give that information out. If you really need my social security number, can I give you just the last 4 digits? Not that I didn't trust my new doctor's office, but what I know, unless they've taken care of that over the last couple of years, what I know is one of the easiest places for cyber criminals to hack into and steal information is doctors' offices and hospitals. So we want to be careful with that. One thing that I read, and I do this now, when I go onto online retail sites, and I put in my information to make a purchase, rather than hitting that tab that allows them to save my information, I go in as a guest, or I don't hit that tab to save the information. So hopefully they don't, and then my information isn't in there in case they do get breached, if you will. Malware, we got to be careful with ways that cyber criminals can download the malicious software to our devices, hitting something we want to, hitting those links that we don't want to hit. Also attachments. Maybe I got that email from my bank with the finger quotes, and rather than a link to take me to their website, they send me an email with an attached letter, and an important attached letter that I need to open right away and review. Oh my God, my bank said. So I open up the attached letter, and again, if that was a fake email from a bad source, by opening that attachment, I could be releasing and downloading something nasty to my device that I don't want to. Same thing with apps. Some people have them. In fact, I've downloaded more apps than I thought I ever would in my life to my computing devices, because it makes it so much easier using them. We have to be careful with where we get those apps from. The experts say more than 1/3 of third-party apps from these, maybe say a new website that pops up. This new website, Big John's Big Discounts, every day, everything 50% off. And you go to their website and you find out when you go there, there's this incentive to download their app, maybe some type of a credit towards a future purchase to download and use their app. So you download their app, you use their app, you make purchases, only to find out at some point there is no Big John's Big Discounts. It was a fake website set up to steal my information as well as how many other people's information. And by downloading that app they encouraged me to do, I once again I could be downloading something to my device that I don't want to download. So we got to be careful with the malware, um, and oh, and the pop-ups. Mark, we got animation. Look at that. We got brand new. Yeah, these pop-ups that we see, we got to be. I mean, really be careful with those. Um, one example that I'll use is, you get the if anyone got that pop-up where there's something wrong with your computing device, you have viruses on your computer, and the message came from tech support. And I think they use this generic term tech support because you're supposed to think it's tech support with whoever supports your device, Microsoft, Apple, or whoever. And the whole idea is to get you to reach out to them, to eliminate this problem. And when you do that, first of all, you need to pay an upfront fee, and then you need to give that tech access to your computing device so they can fix it. So they go into your device. What could they be doing? Stealing information off of your computer after they charged you a hefty fee, stealing information off your device, and or planting that malicious software that could allow them to go in anytime they want to steal information. So we got to be careful with any of those pop-ups. Emerging and increasing threats. So artificial intelligence, we already hit on that once, maybe twice. But artificial intelligence can create more believable scenarios to steal your information. Again, making those fake just as one example, making those fake emails and the fake copycat websites look more realistic. So you think it is, that trust from that trusted source. They use it to create deep fakes, to create videos and voice recordings to sound just like loved ones or people that you trust, even famous celebrities. The biggie is the relative in distress scam. I get a phone call, and the person on the other line is my sister Belinda. George. Well, in my family, I'm Georgie. Georgie, I'm in trouble. It's Belinda, and I need $3,000 and this and that, and it sounds just like my sister Belinda. Only to find out at a later point, if I can get a voice clip of one of your family members, a voice clip and or a video clip, I can sound and even look like that family member, to try to get something from us. They use this with famous celebrities. So first of all, the people out there that think they're in relationships, the romance scams, romantic relationships with famous celebrities. The one that I like to use as an example is this woman in France who thought she was in a relationship with Brad Pitt and ended up giving Brad Pitt, with the finger quotes, all of her money because he needed it for something. Yeah, like Brad Pitt really needs her money. So we got to be careful with it. Or famous celebrities. I saw two ads. Oprah. I don't even have to use Oprah's last name, do I? It's like Cher. When I say Oprah, we know who I'm talking about. Oprah and Steve Harvey promoting this fantastic, with the finger quotes, weight loss drug. As a substitute for the actual weight loss drugs that people are taking. And one dead giveaway is that it was actually AI generated, and I think this was so they couldn't get that the company couldn't get accused of fraud, is they didn't give their names. You knew it was Oprah, you knew it was Steve Harvey because it looked like them, it sounded like them. Everyone, I think most of us know who they are, but they never said Oprah with the finger quotes never said, "Hey, this is Oprah," and try this with, or Steve Harvey said, "Hey, this is Steve Harvey," and here's it. No, they never gave names, and like that was one giveaway. And then there's like glitches or something that could. There's these things that you just kind of know it's that they're fake. But we got to look for these. Because how many of us look at famous celebrities promoting things and we follow them? We like those celebrities. We want to believe in what they're promoting. So we got to be careful with the defect with artificial intelligence. Good thing on one hand, hopefully with Zoom, as Mark and I were talking about earlier. Bad thing on the other hand, may even create synthetic identity theft by mixing your personal information with AI generated information. There's a scary. Maybe I just get enough information from somebody that I can fill that in with fake AI generated information to use. So we got to be careful. Other new threats with social media. Social media is becoming huge for scamming, identity theft, and they getting information about the victim and creating a new profile. I get enough information about you. I go onto social media and create a new profile to reach out to your family and friends to try to get something from them. Reaching out to your connections to get more information. Yeah, using free applications to gather information to steal your identity. We've already talked about applications. Downloading those apps, hitting those links. So we have to be careful there as well. Biometric ID theft, stealing your fingerprints, your facial scans to obtain access to your accounts. It can happen because of data breaches. Our fingertips and faces can't be changed. So we need to keep abreast of that as well, with these new ways of gaining access. We hit on quishing or QR code phishing. They create a quick response QR code that takes you to a malicious website. So I think I'm getting redirected. I'm getting directed to a trusted website. I'm getting directed to actually, and that's how they create what looks like that website or that company, maybe that retailer that you want to visit, and maybe there's a banner. Hey, promote sale today. At bigboxretailer.com. Big sale today in electronics, 2 hours only. Everything 50% off. Use the QR code to come to our website and shop. Oh, wow. So I scan the QR code. I gain access. Again, only to find out at a later point that QR code took me to a fake copycat website. So we got to be careful. Used to steal personal information like login credentials and payment forms, sometimes placed over a legitimate QR code. I remember the first time I came across a number of QR codes. I was flying out of Newark Airport, Liberty Airport in Newark, and the food court and shops seemed like most of the shops and restaurants in the shop area, the food court area, they wanted you to use their QR code to access their menu, to access the items they have. Like with the restaurants, to access the menu, place your order, even pay for it, and they all had their QR codes out. And keep your eye on the center QR code. There's a little bit of magic here. I think I have to hit it a second time. There we go. And I place it, as you can see there. I place it, just come by with a sticker. I just put it right over the actual QR code, the fake QR code, and you think you're going to Schmo's Restaurant's website, and you're actually going someplace else. So we got to be very careful with the QR codes as well. All right, protecting your investment accounts. There was a bank robber back in the 1940s and the 1950s, well-known bank robber by the name of Willie Sutton. And Willie Sutton was finally caught and put in jail. And after he was put in jail, somebody interviewed him. Now, Willie said that he never said this quote that he's known for, but it makes for a good story anyway, whether he said it or not. But the story goes, the guy who was interviewing him asked him, "Why did you rob banks?" And Willie looked at him kind of confused, and he said, "Well, because that's where the money is." Right? Duh. Um, so why did bank robbers rob banks? It wasn't because that's where the money was. Now a lot more of us are putting our money, or a good chunk of our money, into investment accounts, because this is where we get ahead. There's an old saying: we save to keep pace with inflation, we invest to stay ahead of inflation. And a lot of us are putting a lot more of our funds into investment accounts. Now this is where we need to keep an eye out. I mean, we still want to keep an eye out on the bank accounts as well, making sure nobody got access to those, especially if you keep a good chunk of change there. But more now, with these investment accounts, we need to keep an eye on them. And this is from the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, on that, protecting your investments. First of all, we want to monitor our accounts on a regular basis. You know, go into those accounts. If there's anything different, if there's anything wrong, there's $5,000 was taken out, and I know I didn't withdraw that $5,000. Something happened. We need to reach out to that company. Check your statements closely. Change your passwords frequently. First of all, for any of our accounts, but especially our most vulnerable, most important accounts, like our investment accounts, we need to create a strong password, strong passwords for these accounts. At one time, they said experts said we needed to use 8 or 9 characters. Now they're saying we should use more. The more characters we use, the stronger we make it. I work for the Commonwealth, and I think we're required now to use at least 12, 13, or 14 characters in our passwords. Some experts say even more. We need to mix them up. We need to use capital letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and if we can, those symbols like the pound sign, the exclamation point. We don't want to create something that could be easily guessed. We want to mix these things up, write them down, keep track of them somehow. Also, we need to change those passwords on a regular basis. For whatever reason, the longer a password hangs out there, the easier it gets for cyber criminals to figure them out, crack the code, whatever they do. So we need to change our passwords. So no matter how strong we make them, we need to change them on a regular basis. Other things to consider: turning on account alerts, right? Some activity takes place in your accounts. You get alerted to it. More and more people I talk to are starting to do that, which would be a good thing. Utilize two-step or multi-factor verification whenever you can, right? I just don't want to be able to log in, no matter how strong I make my password. I want to log in with my username and password, and then they need to reach out to me either through a text message or email with a verification code that I need to type in. Other things like the facial recognition, fingerprints, multiple ways to again, to be secure. Report activity you do not recognize, and secure compromised accounts. Again, you're seeing activity in an account or several accounts that you're not doing. We need to reach out to that company or those companies, look at those accounts, and worst case scenario, close those accounts and open new accounts, so we don't lose funds that we don't want to lose. All right, this is a site that you can access if you or somebody that is looking for a financial professional to work with. You can go onto this site, brokercheck.finra.org. It's overseen, it's set up, run, overseen by FINRA, which is the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. BrokerCheck, first of all, if in order to be on BrokerCheck, a financial professional needs to be registered. Basically, as I like to say it, licensed and legit. And so, if you say somebody approaches you about becoming your financial professional, and you want to check them out, you go on BrokerCheck and you don't find them on there. Now, if you don't find them on BrokerCheck, there's a chance that you could go to the SEC's website and check them out there. SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. But if you don't find that person either place, big red flag. Good chance they're not a legitimate financial professional. So you find them on there, you should be okay. Also, you can use this to check out financial professionals you're already working with, or you can check out financial. You can maybe I'm looking for somebody in my area. I live in Phoenixville, and I don't want to have to drive to King of Prussia to work with a financial professional. I want to work with somebody in my area. I can look for people in my area that I can work with, and I can do other check. I can see what type of financial professional they are, what they can and can't do, the types of things that they do. Depending on the title, they may or may do different things. So you want to find the right fit for you. You can also check out their background, see how long they've been doing this. You can see if there's any if there's any complaints filed against them, any actions taken against them, which are big red flags. So a lot of information that you can find out. You or somebody that you know is looking to work with a financial professional, or you're looking to check out a potential financial professional you're looking to work with, or one that you're already working with, you can go to brokercheck.finra.org. All right, avoiding identity theft. Guard your social security number. Keep your personal information personal. Protect your personal documents in a safe, secure place, such as a fireproof safe, a safety deposit box, or another safe, secure place. Again, we need to keep these things, money, other valuables, personal, sensitive information, in a safe, secure place. Us, maybe one or two other trusted people, know where these things are at, and nobody else. What else can you do? Beware of direct interactions with people you don't know. Monitor all financial account statements and sign up for transaction notifications. Again, something either with our banking accounts or our investment accounts. Set up these alerts, these transaction alerts, notifications, notifies of any activity. Check your credit reports. No matter one surefire way of knowing whether somebody has stolen our identity and is using it or not, it should be showing up on our credit reports. Annualcreditreport.com. We don't endorse any other site. This is the one site mandated by the feds. It's the one site that's actually overseen by the three credit reporting bureaus: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. There's other sites out there, these freebies that we see. Our thought is, what are you getting for free? What are you giving up in order to get that free service? That said, if somebody is using another service and they're happy with it, hey, continue using it. The whole idea is to check your credit reports on a regular basis. At one time, we used to get one free credit report from each year from each of the three credit reporting bureaus. Now you can get multiple reports, I think multiple times during the month. So whether we check our credit reports once a year or several times during a month, we want to check our credit reports on a regular basis. Again, one surefire way of knowing whether somebody's stolen your identity and is using it or not, because it should be showing up on those credit reports. So what are we checking for? We're checking addresses and telephone numbers, making sure they're the same, they're ours. Account balances and limits. Are all those accounts yours? Do you see anything that's not accurate? You may want to report it and have it taken care of, or maybe there's something going on. And I'm going to give you a scenario here. You check your credit report, and over the last 2 months, there's activity on there that you didn't do. There was 2 credit cards opened in your name that you didn't open. There was a loan taken out in your name. There was a car purchased in your name. All this activity that isn't yours. What should you do? you need to reach out. I'm going to go back one slide because we're going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to cover the other one first, which is we reach out to those reporting credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion for at least two reasons. First of all, you let them know, hey, there's activity on my credit report that I didn't do. What they will do is you let them know what activity is not yours. They will take those things off your credit report and they'll do an investigation. It may take 3 or 4 months, but once they complete that investigation and confirm those accounts are not yours, they should permanently stay off of your credit report. The other reason you reach out to them is because through them, you're going to do a credit freeze on all your accounts. It's free and it's easy to do, and it's getting easier and easier to do it. You do a complete credit freeze, so no new accounts can be opened in your name, no new activity can take place. We can't even do anything with our accounts frozen, but that's okay because whoever stole our identity and is using it can't do any new damage anymore by having those accounts frozen. And there are experts out there. Frank Abagnale, by the way, I mentioned him earlier, right? Catch me if you can. He was the first person I heard that said that whether we have whether we have bad activity or not, we should keep our accounts frozen at all time. That way, we less chance of worrying about somebody. If somebody did steal our identity and is using it and opening up these bad accounts. So yeah, it might be good to keep our accounts frozen at all time. And it's getting so much easier to freeze and unfreeze if we need to do something. I needed to purchase a car, not a new car, a newer car, a couple months ago, and I needed to go, and I have the app from the credit bureaus, one of the credit bureaus, and I just went into that app and hit a button and unfroze my accounts. I said, go ahead and run the because I bought a new car. They needed to run a credit check on me. They ran the credit check. Everything was good. I went back in, hit a button, and refroze my accounts again. So it's getting easier and easier to do. And here's the three credit reporting bureaus and their contact information: Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Freezing your credit is easy. Register online with an account at each of the bureaus. Log into the website, click the Freeze My Credit button. Just hit a button and then log out. Unfreezing is even easier. You log into the website, you lift the freeze, you hit that button to unfreeze. And apparently, and I personally didn't know this until recently. You can you can unfreeze it until you go in and place the freeze again, or you can unfreeze it for a specified amount of time. 1 hour, and then it automatically refreezes after that hour. So, what to do if it happens to you, if you have your identity stolen? All right, so in this scenario, we've already done number 3. We've already reported it through the 3 credit reporting bureaus. We talked about why. Going to number 1, actually, if me personally, I think the first thing I would do is or the second thing I would do in this scenario is number 2. I would reach out to those companies where the compromise took place and work with their fraud department to clear my name of those things that were opened in my name. The 2 credit card companies, the loan company, and the place where the car was purchased. Reach out to those companies, work with their fraud department to cancel those things and to clear our name of all that. And then we also want to reach out to our local police department and file a police report. Request a copy of the report. Make a note of the report number. We want to reach out to our local police department and report it to them probably for a couple reasons. First of all, it gives legitimacy to the fact that somebody else did this, I didn't do it, right? Because let's face it, if I ruined my own credit, I opened up credit cards and took out loans and didn't pay any of them, and I wanted to try to blame somebody else, where's the last place I'm going to report it to? The police department, right? Because now I'm committing fraud. So it gives legitimacy to the fact that somebody else did this, I didn't do it. Also, if again, as I said, most of the time it's somebody that's close to us, somebody that we know that steals our identity and uses it, unfortunately. And if that's the case, I know I want to notify, I want to report it to local law enforcement, and hopefully they have somebody like a detective available that can investigate this and hopefully find the perpetrator, no matter who it is, no matter how much I love my nephew Sam. I don't want Sam to steal from me anymore. But also, we file a police report. We get a copy of the police report and keep it handy in case we need it. And we get the police report number key. And again, we keep both those handy in case we need to show it to somebody to prove, hey, not on me, on somebody else. What else do we need to do? Report it to the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office. Report it to them. Now, here's the thing with the Attorney General's office. They they can't investigate everything that gets reported to them. What they do is they look at patterns. If, say, in the last month, 10 people had their identity stolen the same exact way, now they see a pattern. Now this is probably like a larger, and it's not a family member of mine that did this, or chances are it's not a family member of mine unless 9 other people did it the same exact way. It's probably some larger scheme going on statewide, maybe even nationwide, and now they want to investigate it, and so we do want to report it to them, and so they have that information as well. We also want to report it to the Federal Trade Commission, 877 ID theft, or we go to identitytheft.gov. We can also link through the FTC's website, the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, ftc.gov /ID theft. Identitytheft.gov is a site that you can go to. It's overseen by the Federal Trade Commission. It's run by the Federal Trade Commission. It's where you can report and start a recovery plan for identity theft. It's like a complete walkthrough process for reporting identity theft and to start that plan. It tells you what you need to do, how you need to do it, who you need to contact, how you need to contact them. It's like a checkoff sheet for everything that you need to do to report ID theft and to start that recovery plan. And as you're going and creating that, you're creating another report that you can get a copy of and keep handy in case you need it, to show to anyone. In fact, that report, I'm not sure if you need to send those credit reporting bureaus a copy or you just need to tell them, that you have it. But apparently once you have that report from the FTC, from identitytheft.gov, that alone, because you reported it to those credit bureaus, they're doing an investigation. It may take them 3 to 4 months, but in the meantime, you report it to the FTC and you get a copy of that report. That alone, from what I'm told, should keep those things permanently off of your credit report, even before they finish their investigation. All right, protect yourself. Check what's in your wallet or purse. If you don't need it, leave it at home. Buy a crosscutter micro shredder. Somebody that we used to work with came up with this line: "Make confetti, not spaghetti." If we remember those old-fashioned paper shredders. We want to use at least a crosscut shredder or a micro shredder. It makes it look like dust. And again, if you or somebody that has a burn barrel and you still use a burn barrel, that's the best way to get rid of it. How do you put ash and smoke back together? Check your credit card report. Credit card reports. Excuse me. Check your credit reports on a regular basis. Opt out of solicitations at optoutprescreen.com. Optoutprescreen.com will opt you out of pre-approved credit card offers and insurance offers. So at the very least, it gives you that much less junk mail that you have to shred before you throw it away. But also, again, you get that pre-approved credit card application in the mail and you don't have a secured mailbox. Yeah, somebody could take that and use it. So now what it doesn't do, it doesn't opt you out of pre-approved offers from companies you already have a relationship with. If you already have a relationship, say with Bank of America, you're still going to continue getting getting offers from them. But companies you don't have a relationship with, it should opt you out of their pre-approved offers. Register on the do not call list, the statewide and nationwide do not call list. Verify everything before you click on links, open attachments, or download those apps that we like to download. I think I mentioned this before, but experts say more than 1/3 of third-party apps that we download have malicious software attached to them. So we have to be careful. Get your apps from those trusted sources. Right from that website. I go to big box retailers' website all the time, and I want to even get in their shopping club. I want to use your app, so I go and I download their app from their site, or I go to the app store. I go to my trusted app store on my device and download it, rather than downloading it from some big John's big discount, some company I've never heard of before, and run the risk of downloading some malicious software along with it if it is bad. Learn more in Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Security. Here's the shameless plug for our agency. Our agency regulates those industries in the Commonwealth. Anything dealing with banking, finance, investment professionals, investment companies. We're the regulator for those industries. We're the watchdog. We make sure everybody follows the rules and regulations. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, not trying to take advantage of consumers anyhow, anyway, in the Commonwealth. If anyone ever has a question, a problem, an issue, a complaint, they can reach out to us. For example, say I'm having an issue with my local bank that's not getting resolved. I need to have that issue resolved. Reach out to us. We can help you resolve that issue. Or there's a finance company in the area that's doing something that I don't think is right. In fact, maybe they're doing something wrong. They don't even know they're doing it wrong. You want to report it to somebody, report it to us. We can look into it. We can investigate it. There's a financial professional, with the finger quotes, who has this great investment opportunity, again with the finger quotes, that you think is just a scam. You want to report it to us. We have an in-house staff that will take phone calls Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. You call during those days and times, you should get a live voice answering the phone. If you don't get a live voice answering the phone, you leave a message. Somebody should get back to you within 48 business hours. If you're not sure about something, should I report this? Or if you're not sure, report it anyway. Report it anyway. And if you're not sure if we're the right person, should I report this to Banking and Securities, or should I report it to another agency? Certainly reach out to us if you're not sure. And if it's not ours to handle, we'll point you in the right direction. All right, contact in, and I'm going to go through these last ones quick because we're up on time here. The Pennsylvania Attorney General's office, nationwide, the Federal Trade Commission, their phone number and website. So the Securities and Exchange Commission, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service for that mailbox version of dumpster diving. If you suspect somebody's stealing mail out of your mailbox, it is a federal offense. You probably want to report it to somebody. Who knows? Maybe they can set up some kind of a sting operation. So, and there's a lot of good information on their website as well. So the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. This is a site that was created by the governor's office a year or so ago. Pennsylvanians are encouraged to call 1-866-PA-COMPLAINT, which is 1-866-722-6675, or visit www.pa.gov/consumer, or email consumer@pa.gov to report financial, insurance, and consumer concerns. And here's my contact information for anybody who'd like to reach out to me. Best way to get a hold of me is by email. Make sure you give me as much information about you and how you got my information, as you can. If you do email me, just so I don't think it's some type of a scammer, trying to scam me, get me to hit something that I don't want to hit. So with that, we will end the presentation. We can, Mark, we can certainly end the recording.